Welcome in to Tiny Musings with T. I am T from Tiny Divinations, here with your August collective reading. In this episode, we will go over the charms that we have for the month that tell us some specific things that may happen, some themes for the month. We'll go over our energy cards for the month, and we'll see how far we get through if we can get to some mini focuses. If not, we always have our part two. In part two, we'll go over all of our mini focuses, what we're focused on with our career and finance, our love and relationships, and our spirituality and self growth. We also talk about the best working for the month for my practitioners. We talk about the fairy tales for the month and anything else that comes up. So sit back, get comfortable, and let's get in to the energy of August. What's going on, y'all? Welcome into our August Tiny Collective reading. I am T from Tiny Divinations. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate y'all so much. We're going to get all into this month, into the charms that we have for this month, which are things that we can expect for this month, some themes of this month. We'll get into our energy cards for the energy of this month. We'll see how far we can get. Maybe we can get into some mini focuses, maybe not. If not, we always have our second episode. It comes out a few days after the first one. And in the second episode, we will get into our mini focuses. We'll get into what we should focus on in terms of our career and our finances. The next part is our love and relationships. And then we have the third mini focus, our self growth and spirituality. In the second part, we'll also get into the best working for the month for anybody that does magical workings or practices. We will get into the fairy tale for the month that's related to the cards that we have in this episode for the energies of our month, and anything else that comes up. So we will get into everything, but before we get into that, a few announcements. Number one, thank you so much to everybody that participated in the reading sale. I appreciate y'all so much. I love reading with y'all. As of right now, my books are closed. So I'm not doing any personal readings, no live readings, no email readings. Occasionally, I do donation-based readings on my Instagram. So if you're following me at Tiny Divinations, on the weekend, sometimes when we have a full moon or a new moon or some kind of transit or if spirit calls me, then I will put into our stories that I'm doing donation-based readings. The minimum is usually 11, 11, 12, 12, something like that. And I give like tiny mini readings. So if you'd like a reading during this time when I have my books closed, follow me on Instagram, check my stories, and you can find out when I'm doing those. And other than that, I will let y'all know when the books are opening. Before we get in to our episode all the way, what we usually do is that I want to hear what's going on with y'all. So y'all talk to me as if I'm in front of you. I'm going to be a little quiet. I'm going to ad lib here and there. But talk to me. Tell me what's going on, what's been going on, how your July was, how you're feeling now, whatever you feel like. I'll leave space. You tell me now. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so as usual, if I did not give you enough time to tell me what's going on, pause me, finish talking. The energy that I kind of feel, some people feel like, okay. And then there's this other energy of other people feeling like you're ready for change, like you're ready for something to happen. You're ready for shit to be different. It's just like I'm just ready for something. You know what I mean? Like it's like I'm over this kind of energy and I'm ready for something else. So that's kind of the energy that I feel. But yeah, so let's get into what's going on this month. We have our Tiny Shuffle playlist, if you don't already know. As I pull the charms and the cards for the month, I take a couple different playlists, I shuffle them in the background, and the songs that play all go on one playlist on our Tiny Musings playlist. And you can find that playlist on Apple Music or on Spotify, and it gives energy for the feeling of the month, for some things that may happen for the month. And you can use that playlist for finding new music. You can use it to do shufflemancy like I use it for the month, or you can use it in terms of using shufflemancy to answer questions. You can use it to understand the energy of the month. So feel free to use that playlist however you would like to. The links are in the show notes. And yeah, you may hear it a little bit in the background. I have it playing. So getting into our reading for August, the first song that we had for the month was from Pain Desire. It's called Unrequited Love. And the song was interesting because it felt a little all over the place, like he's talking about unrequited love, but um, the lyrics didn't all necessarily suggest that, so to speak. But then it went back to that at some point. Like it was a little bit disjointed. The energy of the overall month in terms of the songs that we have for the month feels really interesting. It feels very hard, not hard in like a bad way, hard like in a like very in your face kind of way. Um Loud, but not loud in like instruments or bass. It was loud in the sense of what people were saying in certain songs, or the tone with which they were saying it. Like people are very much like confident, or like, this is what I'm saying. I mean what I say, or like, this is who I am, and very owning who they are, owning their power, sitting in their shit kind of energy was some of the feeling I got from the songs of the month. So I think that that speaks to some of the ways that we will be carrying ourselves, some of the ways we need to carry it, some of the energy that we may be getting from other people, some of the things that may be happening that call us to embody that energy. So, like I said, check out the playlist so that you can also get some ideas, or like, tell me what you feel from the energy of the month. Moving into the charms that we have for the month. If you would like to see any of the pictures of anything that we have for the month, the charms, the energy cards, the cards we have for our mini focuses, the working, anything like that, you can click the gallery in the show notes. There's a link for everything so that you can see along with me. So, for the charms that we got for the month of August, we have a microphone, a Virgo charm, the Wheel of Fortune charm reverse, a snake, an alien or a skeleton. It's a little bit hard to see. It never sits up for me to take a picture. A peach, a wooden heart charm, and an ankh that landed inside of a mirror. So, the first thoughts that I had about the charms that we have for the month of August, I thought it was interesting, number one, that we have the Virgo charm. If you are familiar with the zodiac signs, you know that the latter part of August is when the sun moves into Virgo and tropical astrology. And so it made a lot of sense to me that we got the Virgo charm. I thought that was pretty cool because we have those energies at play for the latter half of the month. I thought that the microphone and the Virgo charm were interesting being so close to each other. It made me think that this month may be a month where we have more conversations. We have more conversations that need to be had. We have more direct conversations. We may also need to speak up for ourselves, or the speaking up or the conversations that we have this month may be related to responsibility or things that we are doing on a day to day, or we need somebody else to do on a day to day, or um, self improvement, or anything that's kind of related to the Virgo sign. It could also be about being practical, since we have the word practical on the sign, or like practicality being extra important this month in terms of our Virgo charm. And it could be relating to someone who is a Virgo. Like we could have things that relate to someone who is a Virgo sun, moon, rising this month. We could be a Virgo, and this reading could hit us extra, extra this month, or there could be certain things that really stand out for you for this month. So that was some of the things that I was getting just initially. I really honed in on that charm specifically. So that was really one of the first things that I went to. And like I said, that with the microphone made me think of like conversations, using our voices, recognizing the power of our voices, and gaining confidence in using your voice and things like that. So that was some of the first thoughts I had, and so that kind of gets us into our charms for the month. um, Also, getting into the microphone separately, there, if you look closely at the microphone, there's a bee on the microphone. So similar to how there may be things that we deal with this month that may be related to people who are Virgos, or that happen more so towards the end of our month, or are related to us, in terms of our sun, moon, rising. The B on the microphone may be related to speaking to somebody who has a B name, someone who may be involved in you using your voice, or something that you're speaking about may be a topic that has a B, or they may be a person that has a B, like I said before. So that could come into play with our month as well. The next charm that we have is the Wheel of Fortune. So before I started writing about the Wheel of Fortune, the song that was playing in the background was "How Can I Lose" by G Herbo. And the lyric, I should say, that caught my attention at the time was, "God gave you another chance for a reason. Stay on your shit, because he don't make no mistakes." So for whatever reason, that really stood out to me before I was looking at the Wheel of Fortune reverse. And I think it makes a lot of sense based off the energy of the Wheel of Fortune reverse in terms of the tarot card. So things that we can expect with the Wheel of Fortune reverse charm are cycles, things maybe feeling like they're upside down or being turned upside down, things feeling like they're happening out of your control. The Wheel of Fortune deals with destiny and fate. And as you know, sometimes we're on the top of the wheel, sometimes we're on the bottom, sometimes we're moving through those in between spaces, like you may be on the bottom going back up, and it doesn't necessarily feel like you're going up. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the energy with the Wheel of Fortune, especially with it being reversed, right? So there may be some challenging things that we have happen this month. There may be some adjustments that are hard or uncomfortable. We may have some uncomfortable moments this month that may come up. That's part of the energy that comes up with the Wheel of Fortune card. We also have the Wheel of Fortune over the snake. So some of the things that may happen may deal with shedding or ways in which we need to transform. We also have the snake and the skeleton charm, moving a little bit further down. And the snake and the skeleton together said to me, along the lines of the energy of the Wheel of Fortune, that there are people who are going to need to shed their skin this month, right? So, like I said, some of the uncomfortable things that may happen may be as result, excuse me, of you needing to shed parts of yourself, or shed this skin that you've been holding on to, this way of being that you've been holding on to. It may be thought process that you've been holding on to, or really a shell of yourself that you've been holding on to, that is breaking free this month, that needs to be let go, that needs to be cast away. And so that's a little bit of what comes up with the snake and the alien. You have snakes who literally shed their skin, and the alien charm, which, like I said, it could be seen as a skeleton or an alien. So again, it's the shedding skin, similar to the snake. And if you're looking at it like an alien, then it's something that's unique, right? It's someone or something that's different. It's someone or something that's sitting completely in the differences in themselves, or something that's foreign from everything else that's around, right? So the ways in which you're going to be asked to move this month, or that things are going to kind of break through, or things are going to kind of happen, may happen to ask you to shed skin, or may be happening to ask you to sit in your full, different, unique self. That may be part of why we have some of the things that we go through this month. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. Also, with the skeleton, it may be that we're being asked to get to the root of something this month, or get to like the bones of something, the foundation of something, to take everything away and to see it at its core, and to be able to look at it and see what needs to change, what needs to be added, what needs to be start over in some ways. So these are different ways that you can look at the charms. The next charm that we have is the peach. And though we have some issues this month, to me, the peach charm brings in some sweetness to August, right? It brings in this energy of things being kind of juicy. It brings in sweetness and summer and lightness, and moments of like savoring what you have, or savoring the sweetness that is. I think it may also be peach season, if I'm not mistaken. So it may be that people may be going peach picking this season. There may be more people baking, using peaches in your baking. It may be that people are eating fresher fruits, or fresher in general this month, more fruits, more vegetables, more things that you can pick or grow yourself. We talked about growing a couple months ago. So maybe people are kind of harvesting the things that they've grown, or you've been able to really incorporate fresh ingredients or fresh meals into your meals and your cooking and things like that. It feels like we may also be eating sweets this month, eating more sweets this month, getting more sweets this month. Like I said, it may be that people are baking more this month, whether it's with peaches or without peaches, just baking more in general. You may be baking cobblers and things, like I said, with the peaches, or it may just be that you're like craving more sweets, you're baking more sweets, you thinking about baking things, you're thinking about baked goods, you're adding more sweets into your life. So it's like funny because we have the freshness of that plus the sweets of it. But I feel like both things are a part of the energies, or the things that we'll see this month. Within peaches, peaches also have a pit, right? So we need to be mindful of that when we're looking at charms and we're reading intuitively, and we're thinking about all the things that something can mean. And the pit in peaches, to me, is about us being mindful of possible pitfalls this month, right? The first thing I actually thought of with the peach was not the pit, but I actually thought of a worm, because I'm somebody who, I love to pick. I used to go peach picking all the damn time. I haven't done it in years. I should do it. We should all go this month. Maybe that's why we got it, because some people are, but some of us really should. Anyway, when you were picking fresh fruit, and you eating it, because we be greedy. There are times when an animal, or I should say an insect, is already eating it, and you may not realize, and it might be a worm inside of it, and it's disgusting. Okay, so that is part of the imagery that came to my mind when I first saw the peach charm. So, with that said, being careful, like I said, of pitfalls, being careful of things that you may not have seen that are in it, that, could give you a bad taste, or could put some bad energy, or, could be a little bit negative into what we're doing, or into whatever could be considered sweet, or something that we think is like a good deal. Like I said last month, it could be a situation where things are like a little too good to be true, or like there could be a little something in there that could rub you the wrong way, or that you don't like. Again, because like it's not normally a big insect that's in the peach. It's just the insect itself is just the nasty part, So there could be something that's a little nasty within the sweet that we have. So just something to keep in mind in terms of things that may happen or things that we may be dealing with. We want to just pay attention to what's in and around what we're doing and what we're dealing with. Peaches also remind me of the peach emoji. So we may be working on our booties this month. We may be getting noticed for our physique, not just our butts or asses, but our whole physique. You may be working out. So you may be getting noticed. You may be working on your physique in general, and that may be why this charm is coming up for us. It may also be that some people are getting some cheeks this month. Okay. So that may be why it's coming up. Okay. So, yeah, that is a little bit more of what I got with the peach. It was the pit and the sweetness, but also, the sweetness of the goodness that we could be getting. So, yeah. The next charm that we have is the wooden heart. And the wooden heart makes me think of deep rooted love and admiration. Like the wooden heart was very specific. I have a lot of hearts in terms of the charms that I have, and most of them are metal, right? And so the fact that the wooden heart was the one that came out, it reminded me of the tree associated with the wood, as well as the love or the nurturing and the care that's associated with the heart. At the same time, when I was writing about this charm, the song that was playing that's on our Tiny Shuffled playlist is Make It Last by Dave East. Now, this is by no means a love song. Okay, as I was listening to it, it was very clear it is not. But the chorus of the song is a sample from a Keith Sweat song, which is about love and lasting love. Make it last forever. So it really validated and doubled down on what I was already thinking about the energy of the wooden heart that we had for the month. So specifically this month, we may be dealing with care from people, caring for people, feeling deep love and admiration for people, care for people who have been there for us and really wanting to show that to them, or really recognizing that. We have the energy of past connections. We have the energy of past life connections. We have the energy of feeling like soul ties, and there may also be some people who are dealing with like new love or um, love that is not necessarily so long. May not be just brand new, but it might not be that you're in it for 10 years or so. But it even if it's new, it feels like there are people that are kind of like in a love bubble. It feels like um the heart being in the middle, if you're looking at the picture, the heart being in the middle kind of off to itself, felt like there are people also this month who will be kind of in their own little love bubble. And whether that is within partnership with somebody romantically or within the unit that you've made for yourself, or it could be that you're just feeling in love with life or with yourself. And so you're kind of insulated within those feelings that you feel and allowing that to carry you throughout the month. And the heart being kind of off to itself in the middle also made me think that part of this month, the base that we have, or what we need to come back to, or what will help recharge us, is love, is nurturing, is care, is being able to have that to come back to, have those spaces, have those people, have those things that make you feel that way, to have safe spaces in the time of storms or in the moments of storms. Felt like part of the energy that was also coming up with this wooden heart. It feels very stable and something that's consistent. And so to have a consistent place like that, especially this month with some of the things that we may be moving through or dealing with that we've already talked about, that we'll talk more about in the energy cards, will make a lot of sense. So the last charms that we have for the month of August are the mirror with the Ankh charm on top of it. What's funny is the song that's playing right now is You See What We On. It's also on our Tiny Musings playlist, but the lyric at the beginning of the song is We'll make magic thanks to you. I just thought that was funny that just came on as I'm talking about the mirror and the Ankh, because there's definitely some magic up in this. But The mirror and the ankh are speaking to us on reflecting on things, reflecting on life. We're reflecting on our spirituality, especially within our own lives. We're working on our spiritual selves this month. You're working through a spiritual lens. You're working on gaining specific spiritual information. We're also gaining insight in terms of the mirror. The mirror reminded me of scrying. Scrying is you can use water or a mirror or a crystal to basically look into and be able to see different things. And so, like I said, you can use a mirror for scrying. And that was one of the things that came up when I saw these two things together. Um, the scrying can have you learning different things. It could have you um, literally learning how to scry itself could also be part of it. You may want to do some mirror work this month. The mirror and the ankh also reminded me of portals and different dimensions and learning about and working with, and or doesn't have to be both, working with portals and different dimensions. Also within the month of August, we have the Lionsgate portal. And Lionsgate portal usually occurs between the end of July and the first 2 weeks of August. And it centers around the alignment of the star Sirius and the sun, which is in Leo, and the earth. And you can usually see during that time Sirius before sunrise. And there's a peak time of Lionsgate, and there's a lot to it. I think I'm going to do a separate episode on it. But it was something that was celebrated in ancient Kemet, and it signifies a powerful time. It signifies a really fertile time. So, like I said, I think I'm going to do a separate episode on it um, within the next couple of days. So we'll talk more about it. But that's something that's happening this month, and something that I think also is coming up in terms of the ankh and the mirror. Also, for some reason, I felt like I should look into the ankh and the mirror, like the symbolism, if there was any symbolism of the two. And I had no idea that the word in ancient Egyptian for mirror is ankh, and the word ankh means life, so I did not know that the word for mirror in ancient Egyptian was ankh, or that they also have the same hieroglyph. Like the hieroglyph is an ankh for an ankh, and an ankh for a mirror, or a mirror for an ankh. You know what I mean? Like it's interchangeable. So I thought that was really, really cool. And they both represent in ancient Egyptian or Kemetic thought the sun. They represent daily renewal, the ability to start over, taking everything one day at a time, remembering the opportunity into tomorrow. It also spoke about the window into the soul, and beauty and self-care in life. And so I thought that that was really, really interesting that they related to each other so specifically, and that we got them together for this month. Um, as well as the idea of magic, like I talked about before, right? So we have the beauty and self-care that comes up with the mirror, but it also gave me this feeling of glamour magic and self-care rituals, and like I said before, scrying. So there's also magic that we may be doing, or magic that we're able to utilize this month with these two charms. So this is what I have for the things that we may be specifically dealing with in terms of the charms that we got for this month. Now let's move into the energy of the month with the cards that we have for the energy of the month. So moving into our cards for the energy of the month, we have the Seven of Wands, the Lovers, the King of Swords, the World, and the Queen of Wands. Every month, all of our energy cards come from the Tarot of the Divine. Each of those cards in that deck has a companion story that goes and is related to the card. And all of those stories are in a companion book called Beneath the Moon. So in our episode 2, we always read the fairy tale that relates most to our month. We go over the research and we talk a little bit about the other cards that we have for the month. So make sure you come back for part 2 so that you can find out which card we do for the fairy. So, first thoughts about our energy cards. The first things that popped out to me were that of the 5 cards that we have, 2 of them are major arcana cards. Major arcanas deal with major themes, themes of life overall. And we have 2 court cards. And court cards, the King of Swords and the Queen of Wands, dealing with aspects of our personality or other people's personality. Um, things that are very relational kind of thing. So that was 2 of the things that popped out to me first. So in terms of the energy of the month, there's definitely a focus on larger aspects of our life, as well as specific aspects of either our personality, of others' personalities, of things about us inherently, or, things that we show outward to the world are going to be things that are important this month, or things that we're dealing with, or things that are kind of up. So the king and the queen, because they're higher level authority, deal with mastery. It deals with authority. It deals with um, ownership in terms of the aspects of yourself or the part of yourself that we're going to be dealing with this month. And in terms of the modalities, you have the King of Swords, swords dealing with our mental, with our intellect, with the planning that we take, things like that. And then the Queen of Wands, the wands being the action, the movement, the actual doing that we do, so they may be related to the certain aspects of ourself in terms of mastery and ownership that we're dealing with this month. We also have the Lovers and the World, which, like I said, are major arcana cards, and they're on kind of opposite ends of the story of the major arcana. If you think about the Fool's Journey, the first card you have with the major arcana is the Fool, and the Fool's Journey is what they call the movement from the Fool to the last card in the major arcana, the World card, and the journey that the Fool moves throughout every card, getting him to the very last card, right? And so even though the Lovers is very early in the Fool's Journey and the World is at the very end, in this deck the symbolism is very similar in the cards. And in a traditional deck, they may not, it wouldn't necessarily look or be thought of as similar symbolism or similar imagery, but in this deck specifically, you have 2 people um, kind of doing this dance and the World card, and then you have 2 people coming together and the Lovers card. So there's a symmetry in both cards, right? There's a harmony in both cards. There's an acceptance in both cards. In this deck specifically, that popped out to me, that, like I said, you might not necessarily see in a traditional deck. And part of that energy with seeing the movement kind of in the other cards and the more serious energy and the Seven of Wands and the King of Swords and even in the Queen of Wands, says to me that there is a way that coming together with other people, that being in partnership, that being in a couple or around people that make you feel nurtured or that make you feel loved is part of like the home base this month. It's part of what it feels like we need to go back to, that we're going to be looking for, that we're going to be needing in the moments outside of the work that we're doing this month, or outside of all the motion that we may have this month, right? It just feels like um, there is a way in which like our partners or people that we are closest to are kind of going to be our soft place, our landing place this month. So getting into our cards individually, starting with the Seven of Wands. And the Seven of Wands, we have someone who is lifting up a large hammer. There's a big blazing sun behind them, a big bright yellow sky. There are mountains, and it looks like they're hammering nails or spikes into rocks. Okay. They're working really hard. I know from, having this deck for a long time that the story from this card is actually John Henry. We may get into it this month in the part 2. I'm not sure yet what story is going to relate most, but the Seven of Wands brings the energy of working hard. It brings the energy of power, and power not just coming from your strength, like your physical strength, but power coming from skill. It also brings in power from strength. It's working with your hands, working hard, like back-breaking kind of work where you're grinding, where you're sweating, where you're breaking through something. It could literally be breaking through something. It could be that part of the energy this month has to do with breaking down things, like breaking down barriers, breaking down walls, breaking through something, like you're trying to break into something that may be hard to get into, or you have some kind of barrier to get through, to get to the other side, or to get to something that you're trying to get to, whether that's literally or figuratively. Okay, that's part of the energy that comes in with this card for August. It also can have to do with putting all of your strength or like your might behind your work. You may be like just head to the what is that saying? Nose to the grindstone. Is that what it is? Like, yeah, I think that's what the saying is. But like you may just be like very into your work right now. You may not be doing anything else but working. You know what I mean? And that's part of the energy of your month. Maybe you're trying to secure something. Like I said, maybe you're trying to break through an issue that you're having. Maybe you're trying to break into something and you need a certain number of hours, or you're just trying to get this thing in so that you can get to another level with it. You know what I mean? But like something to do with that is part of the energy that we're dealing with this card. Okay. We also have, like I said, this blazing sun in the background. And so it may also be that some people are working despite the conditions that are inherent in what you're doing, or the conditions that you are being subject to right now. It may be that there are certain obstacles in your way. Like I said before, you may be trying to break through something. Okay. The song that was playing at the time was called Believe It or Not. It's on our Tiny Shuffle playlist. So you can definitely listen to that. But like it was given this energy of like, I'm gonna get it whether people think I am or they don't. I'm gonna get it whether people believe in me or whether it seems impossible or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I know what I'm working for. I know my skills. I know how hard I work. I know what I'm gonna do with it. So like that was part of the energy as well. And because the 7 is a minor arcana card, it may be something to do with your daily life. It could to have something to do with what you're wanting to do, or specifically with your work because of the type of card it is. So there's also energy for something powerful to come in this month with this card. There's something powerful that can come into your world through the work that you've been doing, through the perseverance that you have been putting in, through something you've been working on or digging through or trying to break down for a while. So that's also part of the energy that comes with this. Being next to the Lover's card, the Seven of Wands could also be related to the energy of us having to work on or work through a relationship this month. There may be differences of opinions or differences of habits that need to be discussed. It may have something to do with boundaries, and kind of like laying the law in a sense, especially with the King of Swords on the other side. There may be things that need to kind of be hammered out and discussed. Like it may be a situation where we have an understanding and then we kind of sit and say like, I need this and you need that kind of thing. It may be literal that some people are having to hammer out prenups or like some kind of contractual agreement with partnerships, and saying like, I want this or you need this, and like putting it in writing, getting it notarized, kind of thing like that. So like that's also some of the energy that comes up with it. It would be working and um situations and contracts around things that have to do with security, and or it could be discussions in terms of boundaries and things like that around security, or working on trust, or having to do with like passion in a relationship, whether there is a lack of passion or, something like that. So that also comes up with the Seven of Wands and the surrounding card. The next card that we have is the Lovers. And for me, specifically in this pull, for August, the Lovers brings the energy of companionship. It brings feelings of security. It brings cohesively bringing two things together. It could be love blooming or growing or moving to another phase. It could be about passion, like I said, especially next to the Seven of Wands. It could relate to work and things that you're passionate or what you're doing. When I was writing about this card, the song that was playing from our Tiny Shuffled playlist, from the songs from this month, was Atlanta Be Calling Each Other. And the lyric at the time was that 9 to 5, can you work it? And it made me think of, like I said, with the passions, like, are you doing things that feel magical to you? Are you doing things that you really feel a stir inside of you when you do them, right? Like similar to kind of the energy in the Queen of Wands, right? Or the sweetness of the peach that we talked about in our charms, is that in any way a part of what you do? And if not, is that something that you feel like you can have? We kind of talked about that last month in part one, and a little bit more so even in part two with the career and finance mini focus that we had for July. But like that's part of what comes up to me with the Lovers card as well. This energy is also seen in our Tiny Shuffle playlist for August. The songs for August were all, I said before, I think earlier in the episode, very hard, very like, I know what I want, I'm going to get it. I have this idea, or I'm passionate about this thing. I don't give a fuck what other people say. I don't think, I'm wrong, or I don't think that I need to wait. It's like, now is it. I'm going to figure out how to do it, and I'm not going to stop until I get it. Like that's very much the energy of a number of the songs that we have for this month. And part of this energy of knowing what you want and being very precise leads us directly into the King of Swords. In the King of Swords, we have a griffin holding a sword. It looks like it's a dark sky behind them. It looks like they're on a mountain. Their feathers are all like in bloom and they're different colors, and the face looks very, very serious. Okay. So the energy of the King of Swords is kind of the opposite of the passionate energy that we have in the Lovers. And in the sense that the King of Swords being the operative word, is more about your thoughts and your judgment, your mental abilities, than it is about your feelings, right? King of Swords has to do with deduction and how you deduce, how you plan, how you're able to kind of see shit before you can see shit. You know what I mean? Is part of the energy that we're dealing with for this month. Being able to conquer using your courage, similar to the Seven of Wands, but less, like I said, in the Seven of Wands, your brute strength, and more King of Swords with your mental acumen. How smart are you? How intelligent are you? How many steps ahead of others can you be? How well have you planned for things? How diplomatic can you be? You know what I mean? This is part of what the King of Swords is asking from you this month. The next card that we have is the Queen of Wands reverse. In the Queen of Wands, we have a person who has an active volcano exploding behind them. There's dark smoke. There is ash coming. This person is forging forward. They are determined. They have a staff, or what could be an oar in their hand. And it looks like they're just like moving forward where they have to go, very determined, very deliberately. And there's some growth by their feet. The energy that the Queen of Wands reverse brings into our month brings in more passion. It brings in more power, but it's part of it is really us being able to stay grounded within these passions that we have, within the power that we're using, staying grounded into earth energy, staying grounded into what we're doing, so that the fire energy, the passionate energy of it all doesn't go out of whack, doesn't get out of hand. We don't then kind of overrun things because of it. We don't become too forceful or too controlling. We don't exert all of our energy and wind up burning out. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways in which the fire and the passion and the perseverance can work against us if we allow it to, you know? So part of the energy that I feel like the Queen of Wands brings is the reminder that, you know, too much energy, too much passion, too much fire can backfire on you as well, you know? The Queen of Wands is also a card of checking in on your own energies and your motivations throughout the month, right? We have a lot of things that we're doing. We're persevering, we're moving through, we're owning our power, we're owning our authority, we're standing 10 toes down. And there's ways in which we are stirring shit up in our lives, right? We are stirring shit up. We're having to ask ourselves, you know, what is our motivations? Why are we doing certain shit? Is this helpful to me? Is this harmful to me, right? If I'm standing 10 toes down on certain things, I have to sit with the fact that, like, if I'm owning my shit, that's one thing, and there may be consequences, and I'm going to own whatever comes with that shit too, you know? And remembering that as I make decisions and making decisions from that place and owning whatever it is I do, right? This is also very much a part of the Queen of Wands reverse, because there is so much that we have that's related in terms of the power and the onus and um moving towards what we want this month, right? That we have to stay on track and remind ourselves what we're doing certain things for and why we are moving in certain ways. And if we're not sure, then we have to own that shit too, and be able to evaluate that. And that kind of moves us into the last card that we have for the month, which is the World card. On the world card, we have a couple who's dancing on the water. It looks like they're floating on fruit. There's what looks to be a sunset or a sunrise behind them, with mountains and a lot of flowers growing or blooming around them. The world card gives harmonious energy to this month. It brings balance. It brings back the synergy energy that we had in the Lovers card. There's the energies of intertwining and melding things and allowing things to come together. There's the happy ending after a long journey or after issues or a hard time, or the perseverance that we have that we're dealing with or going through this month, and being able to celebrate getting what you want and owning your accomplishments and being recognized for that, having synergy in partnerships, having synergy in the things that you're doing, having things come together and having projects work out for both parties involved or work out in the ways in which you wanted them to. So all of this is the energy that comes up in the World card. I think because we are dealing with energies of passion and creation and power, the World card coming in really tells me that embodying this and allowing the things that come together, and allowing the things that are being asked to let go to be let go, and moving throughout this month in the ways that you have been. I feel like a lot of us already kind of trying to move and owning more of that and really embodying more of that within taking authority and making decisions for yourself and having a real actionable plan will lead you to this place, right? Will lead you to the harmony, will lead you to the balance, will lead you to seeing how you've allowed things to come together and they've worked out for you, right? How continuing to kind of toil or work and persevere through the things on the journey, you get to see the plan and fruition, you know? And I feel like there is a beauty in knowing where you're trying to go, so that when you get there, you can really own what you've been through and how you made it happen. And I think that that is part of why we have the World card, because there's a way in which at some points in this month, there's a big ass hornet just banging against my window right now. At some points in this month, we will feel that. We will see that. We will get to celebrate um, or recognize that in some way. So these are the cards that we have for the month of August in terms of the energies for our month. I hope that this makes sense. Y'all let me know what you think. Um, if I feel like it makes sense, but it's a little disjointed, and I feel like it'll make more sense as we go throughout the month and as we go throughout the rest of the card, like the mini focuses and things. So, like I said, this is what we have for the energy of the month. We are a little bit close to an hour. So, I'm going to wrap this up now and end our reading here. For part 2, we will get into our mini focuses. We'll talk about our career mini focus, career and finances, our love and relationships, our spirituality and growth. We will talk about the fairy tale that we have for the month that's related to these cards that we just talked about and the energies of the month. We'll talk about our working for the month. We've already talked a little bit about them, the glamour work and the scrying that we talked about with the charms and whatever else comes up. So thank y'all so much for being here with me. I appreciate you so much. If you have any questions, you have any thoughts, definitely let me know. Comment, DM me, whatever. And I will see you in part 2.